David, a bit of a disappointing result last weekend. Plenty of time now to recover and focus on our next test, isn't there?
Yeah, look, I thought our performance was good. I said that after the game, watched the game back, it was good. The performance in the last few games have been decent. We don't quite manage to get the results. But that underlying performance has been good. We're the better team against a really good fancied team. And like, significantly better, really. Now, we didn't manage to turn that into goals or points. And obviously, they sent off changed the game. But even then, they didn't open it up. They had a chance through our mistake. And then we helped them along the way, if you like. So, look, we're happy with our level of performance. We've got to make sure we just turn that into results. But I said after the game, I'm not worried about our level of performance. I think we've been good. And I'm confident that if we keep performing to our levels, then we will pick up points and be, there or thereabouts. So that's the challenge. Maintain them levels of performance. Maintain the standards that we've set ourselves. We've got the ultimate test, top of the league on Saturday. So there's no better time to keep them performances going and actually get a result that our performances deserve, really.
And mentality in the group? I mean, obviously, a full week of training, you can sort of brush those frustrations to the side now, can't you?
Yeah, I think when you sort of work in the way we work, in terms of continued improvement, continued development, it's never catastrophic, because it's the next thing to get better at. Come on, let's keep getting better. So although results are important, and results do affect mood, because we're all human beings, we understand that it's never disastrous, because we're on this journey together, and we are making progress. So, even last year, we had to play at our very best to play against Chesterfield. And this year, we were the better team, and we can still play much better. So, that shows progress in itself. And when you put it like that, then actually, we know we're on the right track. We've just got to make sure we pick up the results that our performances deserve. We don't want to be a nearly team or an unlucky team in sort of quotation marks, if you like. We need to get our rewards that our performances have merited, if you like. No greater test than Saturday.
What sort of things have you been working on in training this week?
Well, if I had to tell you that, I'd probably have to lock you in a dark room for the next 2 days. We do all the individual stuff. We do our principles. We reaffirm some stuff that we haven't maybe worked on for a couple of weeks, because you can't work on everything all the time. And what we think we can expose Swindon. So there's all them sort of factors that go into it. And the lads have been really good. They've been training well for a while, more than a while. And it's now refining them skills. It's challenging them even more to be even better at what they are. Like I said before the weekend, I spoke after the game about being ruthless. I don't know if we are now, but we were top scorers in the league going into last Saturday. We are ruthless, but I want us to be even more ruthless. And that's the challenge, and it's sort of refining them skills. So, and obviously at the other end of the pitch, I think I don't know where we are actually now, but 5th, 6th, 7th in the league in terms of conceding goals or something, or certainly expected goals against. And we need to improve that, but we're not bad at it either. So it's now getting to a point where you're going, right, come on, we've got to show how good we are actually in points return, as opposed to just development, if you like. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge going forward for the sort of rest of the season, really.
Looking at the personnel, obviously notable missing players in terms of like Doug and Henry. Whereabouts are they in their journey back? They've
been back on the grass, so it's good to see them back on the grass. Henry's a little bit further away than Doug, but not by much. There's a reserve game in a couple of weeks that they'll probably both take part in, and we'll see where they are from there.
And like you say, no more difficult tests at the moment than Swindon Town, top of the league. What makes them such a difficult proposition this season?
They play good football. They score lots of goals. They can go direct into Wally Palmer. So they've got a bit of everything going forward. They work the socks off. You don't get to top of the league if you after 15, 16 games if you don't work hard. They all know their roles. They're not infallible, but they're there on merit, and we know it'll be a tough test, but it's one that we're looking forward to.
They're a team that, like you say, good at both ends of the pitch. They've conceded the same amount of goals as us this season, 21 goals. So there must be sort of, the strikers in particular, eyeing up, a chance to get a goal.
Yeah, look, I think it's two evenly matched teams, if I'm being totally honest. And it's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. We know that them playing the box in midfield poses questions, but then we've got to pose our own questions in other areas of the pitch. So, it'd help if we pose questions to their defence, wouldn't it? So, look, it's going to be a good game. It'd be a good atmosphere, I imagine, good pitch. That always helps. So, it's one we're looking forward to.
And as always, we say it every week, but we're backed by fantastic support week in, week out. It's been a little run without a win. I'm sure you like to reward the supporters with a fantastic performance and 3 points.
Yeah, look, I think the performances have been good. I think first of all, I think the fans have been excellent. They can see that we've improved. They can see we are improving. They can see we've not maybe had the rub of the green. Individual mistakes have cost us in the last few games. There was other factors that cost us last week, for sure. But the fans were magnificent. They've travelled in unbelievable numbers up and down the country. I think we've only took less than 1,000 to Barnet and
Walsall.
Was it Walsall? Was it? I can't remember. Tuesday night. It was, which is just says exactly what it needs to be. So look, we'll be backed by unbelievable supporters, and of course we want to reward them for their unbelievable support, and that's important to us. So hopefully we'll get over the line and get a result that our recent performances have warranted.